That's what I'm known for these days.
Speaking of validator scripts, man, have you seen the amount of validators on PulseChain?
There's quite a bit, over 45,000, 46,000 maybe.
It hit 46, man.
They keep adding.
David Feeder's running like a small army of validators over there.
Oh,
dude, he's getting people, him, Gamma, Dip Slayer, myself, obviously, like giving people the tools to literally just go set their own thing up, or a lot of people run services too, where you can get them to help you set it up, or we may have some delegation coming up with Alex may fork Rocket Pool and other services coming out. Like we're getting more people online. 100K next year doesn't seem like a stretch at all. Like maybe even this year. Who knows?
I know this is like a hex discussion, but I was curious, like, what your thoughts were on, as Pulse starts to perform well, do you expect people to start pulling their Pulse validators to sell Pulse? Or do you think it's going to be one of those situations where, like in the mining and Bitcoin market, where people keep flooding in and oversaturating the validator market?
It's a good question. It definitely, I think, well, I don't even think that's, first I answer that, then I'll say like what's actually could be a problem going forward. So I think where you lock it up, you kind of make that investment. It's a little bit like you got to have some hardware, or maybe if you can delegate it, that's a different situation. But if you've learned Linux, if you've like set up these servers and you went through the process, it's kind of this energy you've already got into it. I think it's going to be a lot harder mentally to back out of something like that and go take your Pulse and go somewhere else than it would be if you were just clicking some buttons on a portal and unstaking, restaking, stuff like that.
I guess a better question would be like, at what price point is the price so high? It's like, all right, you're going to start to see this huge offloading of Pulse from validators.
So at some point, it's like people, maybe they want to take profit with the deposits they made down to be a validator. I hope we're so lucky to get to that point to see people exiting. But I think the biggest question that I've run into is, what if the Pulse price goes so high that it becomes, being a validator isn't even an option anymore? Like, that's going to be interesting if people are exiting. Yeah, because we 32 million it. So it's like, right now,
32 million times 10x would be, what is that, like over almost 20 grand a validator, right? Something like that.
It could go high. It could go 50 grand a validator. It could go 100K. Like, what do we do then? Like, I've talked about this before. Do we fork the network and change the parameters to make it more democratized, or do we just say, hey, that's a good problem to have? Like, what do we do?
Not for that reason, but maybe for other reasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about the validating, right, I think we got a real long runway to go before we run into that problem. But yes, I agree with you. But to answer your question, Ax, is my opinion, I don't, being a validator and seeing what I get, right now, the decision to put capital in for validation is based on APY for me. And the APY is slowly coming down as we have more validators. But of course, that could change, with more action on chain, right? I mean, all the dynamics of that. So I see that. But man, if you do see a price increase like you're talking about, why would I ever remove ever? I think I just leave it there forever.
Yeah.
And then just pull.
Because I'm with you on that. I think that the people are going to get priced out of buying or like starting new validators. And so it's going to be like this click, right? The first, the 46,000 or whatever it gets up to, 60,000 guys that are validating. And because the cost of entry is so high and the payouts are going to be so good, we're talking like better than a 1-year hex stake, that like the short end of the Pulse hex system is going to be validating Pulse potentially. And then the longer end is going to be hex staking. And that'll be the new dynamic. And perhaps you could throw ink farming in there somewhere too. But it's really going to be like this game of tossing around time frames and how much yield I'm getting in each of the different baskets of opportunity.
Yeah, I think the more validators come in, the APR, obviously could go down. And then do people pull out, or do they leave it in, get the price appreciation, keep printing the money? Again, it's printing money. So you're getting Pulse every day. You're getting the validator fees, more volume, a lot of more chances to get some of the bigger fees. But also, when the price goes up, it becomes much more expensive to become a validator. So if you become a validator now, when it's like 1K, 2K, whatever it is, versus if it becomes 100K in the future, 50K, or whatever it may be, that's an opportunity in and of itself. So a lot of people don't see it or want to get into it, but being a validator, they see the low APY, I'm only making 10, 15% or whatever it is. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, and I mean, they'll be saying the same thing about hex stakes, right? Crispy man.
Yeah, I do. Hey, and don't forget, there could be some new options coming along, like validation as a service, pool validation. So there are ways that things might happen that other people would get, even if the prices were high.